Playfulness. Very good. This is so important. With work and purpose, there goes with purpose there goes work. You see, with meaning there goes playfulness. As long as there is purpose, you can work. You can work in order to accomplish this purpose. It's the goal of your work. But when the purpose is accomplished, the work becomes meaningless unless you do it playfully, unless you do that particular activity playfully. Give you an example. If you sweep the floor, the purpose is to get all the dust off the floor. So you take your broom and you sweep the floor, and maybe there is a little dust still left, so you sweep it once more, and then maybe there's still a little something left and you sweep it once more, but then you go on sweeping and sweeping and sweeping, and somebody will come along and say, "What are you playing around here?" You see? Suddenly the work has turned into play. And if you answer, "Oh, this is very meaningful to me, I'd like to dance with my broom," it's perfectly all right. It's your perfect right. Play doesn't have a purpose. Play doesn't have a purpose. The music doesn't like to get to the last note, or the dancers don't dance in order to get somewhere. You just do it for its own sake. And to put that playfulness into every activity is to make it meaningful. Make everything. That means don't neglect the purpose, but add to just wanting to take things in hand and accomplish the purpose, add to that openness for surprise, which will make it meaningful. Does that make sense to you? Antiseptic.
For this person who's in a hospital and the smell of antiseptic.
Exactly. The smell of a hospital, the antiseptic smell of a hospital, it can suggest so many things, you know. On the one hand, all the fright that you have when you go to a hospital, the very smell already makes the hair stand up on your back. On the other hand, it comes with nurses, and it comes with all the kindness that nurses show you, and with all that you need. If you get in trouble sometimes in places where there are no hospitals with the antiseptic smells, you would be very glad to take that antiseptic smell in stride, if only there were somebody could help you, see. So it's full of meanings, full of possibilities. Great poem, Antiseptic. Children sometimes have these big words and they walk along saying these big words, sometimes not knowing at all what they even mean, but they are poetic. One more. Confidence is another word that was mentioned. I didn't hear that. Confidence, how beautiful. Faith, you see. Confidence means faith in. That's really what it is. And when you really listen to every word, as we have said, you find, as one of the great Protestant theologians of the last century, Richard Niebuhr. Most people know Reinhard Niebuhr, but that was his brother, who was also a theologian, Richard Niebuhr, and he said, there is faithfulness at the heart of all things. There is faithfulness at the heart of all things. And that faithfulness is God's faithfulness. what does it mean as faithfulness at the heart of all things? Well, take a rose. When you really open yourself to it, when you really give yourself to it, you will find that at its core there is this roseness. A rose is a rose is a rose, that sort of thing. There is this roseness in it, and it speaks to you in a language in which no other flower can say what God has to say to us, and that is, I love you. God is so simple that God has only one thing to say, I love you. And it says it in all these many different languages. And faithfully we can rely on it if we let ourselves down. And we can find God's faithfulness in all other things. And we are also a word of God. Each one of us is word of God. And each one of us ought to be able to convey that faithfulness at the heart of all things to others. Faith is often thought about and talked about as if it were just your private affair, but we are responsible, each of us is responsible for the faith of others. When a candidate for baptism comes to be baptized, there is a question, what do you ask of the church? What do you ask of this community? And the answer is faith. And we shouldn't mistake that and think a series of beliefs. No, trustworthiness. That trustworthiness, that reliability, because that will build up my faith.